This week in the Missouri Senate, we review another issue that could see time on the floor of the Missouri Senate again next year.
If you're familiar with the ESA program that was implemented a few years ago.
So I'm not an advocate for the 4-day week.
A great deal of time was spent on education during this year's regular legislative session. Most of the dialogue centered around how many days a week school should be held. A growing number of districts have moved to 4-day weeks, which upsets some lawmakers. To this end, Senate Bills 411 and 230 was introduced at the end of last year. This measure stalled in the Missouri House of Representatives.
Well, it would affect every district. I don't have the number of school districts in that area, but it's quite a large. I think there's 22 school districts in St. Louis County. Those would be affected. Whatever's in St. Charles County. And then we have individuals. We have Springfield, St. Joseph, areas like that. We know if Independence was going to go 4 days, I know that would be affected. There was a conversation on the Fox School District going to 4 days, and I think they decided not to.
Senator Doug Beck of St. Louis says he continues to oppose 4-day school weeks in Missouri.
I think the more contact students have with their teachers, like 174 days compared to 142 days is critical to learning. And we also have every 4 days you go to school, you're going to have 3 days off. And we see with kids, when they're off days, you have loss of learning, and then you got to come back and you got to relearn things. I think it's critical that we get back to a 5-day week. I mean, our neighbors in Kansas, for example, they have 185 school days scheduled, a year. We have 174 if you do going 5 days, 142 if you're going 4 days. Kansas has proposals to go to 195 days. And I think we're going in the opposite direction when we're trying to compete, nationwide and globally.
Missouri senators have already pre-filed several proposals aimed at this for the upcoming regular legislative session. Missouri Senate Majority Floor Leader Cindy O'Loughlin of Shelbina says she too prefers children attend school 5 days a week.
One of the great topics of the day that seems to not be talked about is the continuing decline in the outcomes of our education system. We continue to spend more money on it, and we continue to have a downward trend in reading and math and the things that people need to know when they graduate from school.
She also says she believes this issue is larger than 4 days a week versus 5.
In my mind, to cut your school week down a day is certainly not a way to achieve higher results. I know that some of the smaller schools feel that it's an advantage in recruiting teachers in, but now we have places like Independence that have decided they'll go to a 4-day week. I think our education system needs a total overhaul, starting with a new director at the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which I have said repeatedly.
Senator Carla Esslinger of Osceola has been chosen to become the next state education commissioner, which is slated to happen following the end of next year's legislative session. The second regular session of the 102nd General Assembly will start at noon on Wednesday, January 3rd. And remember, you can follow these and other issues facing the Missouri Senate, plus see a list of all pre-filed Missouri Senate legislation by visiting our website, senate.mo.gov. Reporting from the state capitol, I'm Dean Morgan.